Hello and welcome to Monohive. You were just listening to Big Mean Sound Machine. They're an Afrobeat band based in New York. That was a session from Telefunken Studios. It was recorded live, as you could see. I'm going to be starting a short video series where I mix this song and I'll be covering a lot of the essential tools and mixing basics that you'll need to approach almost any kind of mix, along with some advanced techniques. The entire session is up for free download, courtesy of Telefunken. The link is in the description. It's a really, really nice song. It's going to be a lot of fun to mix. There's a lot of roadblocks and stuff that we'll be hitting along the way. So I highly recommend that you download the session and follow the series. Okay, so here I've got my session set up. As you can see, I have a lot of effects, a lot of inserts and things like that already loaded in. This is just basically my standard mixing template. None of these effects are on, they're all disabled by default. And I have some groups and sends already set up. You guys do not have to follow this at all. You can just load it up into your DAW in whatever way you want. And we can just dive right in. Okay, so the recording sounds great, but due to the nature of a live recording and the number of mics involved, you can't avoid phase issues. So I can hear that. So we're going to spend some time just dealing with phase. Okay, so a very common place to start is with the overhead mics because it'll give you a full picture of the kit, and the drum kit usually has the most number of phase issues. So let's just bring the overhead mics up. Okay, so the overheads sound really nice. Let's bring the snare in because that's sort of the centerpiece of our kit, and it's really important that the snare sounds good. Alright, the snare sounds nice, but it's a bit thin to my ears. Let's listen to it in solo. Okay, so the snare is a lot fatter when it's soloed. So what's happening here is there's a delay between the close mic and the overhead mics, and as a result, the snare's out of phase in the overheads. An easy way to test this is to just switch your master to mono, play the soloed snare, and just bring the overheads up. Just solo that. So you'll notice as I bring the overheads up, the snare gets thinner. Let's do that one more time. Yeah, I hope you can hear that. If you're not listening to this on a good set of monitors or decent headphones, you might not be able to tell, but there is a considerable loss of low end when the overheads come in. Now, one easy way to deal with this is, of course, to just reverse the polarity on the snare. So let's check that out. So the second I reverse polarity on the snare, there's a lot more low end. It's a lot fatter. And this definitely, you hear the difference. But we do want to reverse polarity on the close mic because the close mic has all the bottom end, and you want the speaker to be pushing out every time the snare hits. Because of all the low end in that close mic. And if you reverse polarity, the speaker pushes in every time the snare hits, and that's just a strain on your speaker. We can afford to reverse polarity on the overheads because they don't have as much low end as the snare does, and we don't we're not going to be losing a major amount of punch if we do that to the overhead. So we can afford to do this. Let's reverse polarity, listen to the snare, and then reverse back. So you hear a huge loss in the low end the second I switch back. One more time. All right, that sounds cool. I'm going to go with the reversed polarity on the overheads. Let's move to kick drum. The kick drum sounds pretty good to me. I don't hear any phase issues with it, so I'm just going to leave it as it is. The toms, I am hearing a lot of toms in some of the sections in the overhead mics themselves. It's a testament to how well the overheads are recorded. So I don't think I'll need a lot of toms, but let's just listen to a roll. Yeah, see, you hear a lot of toms in the overhead mics. So I'm just going to bring the toms up a little bit and not really worry about them at all for now. And let's listen to the drum kit. Okay, it's sounding good so far. So right now there are no effects. There's absolutely nothing running on the kit. We're just bringing levels up and we're checking for phase. And this is the most crucial step in your mix. If you don't get this step right, nothing you do after this point will matter. So getting your levels right, getting your phase right is pretty much the most important foundation of all mixes. I can't stress that enough. Okay, so we've got our drums in. I also noticed there are some room mics. There are two sets of room mics. There's a standard set of room mics and there are distant mics. I've renamed this so the files in the project that you download may have different names, but you'll be able to identify them instantly. Okay, so let's just listen to these room mics and see what they sound like. Okay, the room mics, to me, are giving me a guide to what the mix was in the room. Clearly, these are very proficient musicians and they really know how to play their instruments with each other and balance their levels out as they play. Okay, so this is sort of give us a guide to what to bring up next. I'm just going to bring the horn section up next along with the room so that I get a good idea, because that sounds pretty important in this mix. Let's see, solo the trumpet, solo the trombone, baritone, sax. Start with the trumpet. Yeah, so I'm just checking that in mono to see if the trumpet is out of phase with the room mics. It sounds okay to me as of now. Let's bring in everything else. Okay, that sounds pretty good. But you do hear some panning going on with the horns in the room itself. So if you just listen to the room mics, You see, the trumpet is towards the right, the trombone is more towards the left, and I think the baritone sax is also sort of on the left. So to get our pan positions right, what you might want to do is sort of follow the room mic. But luckily, in this session, they've provided us with a rough mix. Now, a lot of times, if you're mixing for someone else, if you're mixing for an artist, the artist the artist recording engineer will do a rough mix where he sort of balances levels out, and he'll send you that rough mix along with the session, so that you have a guide to what kind of levels and what kind of pan positions you want to have, or the artist wants in the mix. So we'll check this out and see where the horns are. So to me, it sounds like... It sounds like the baritone sax is on the right and the trombone is on the left in the rough mix. Yeah, and the trumpet is sort of in the center. So let's just do that. Baritone sax on the right. And the trumpet is really loud in the center. Okay, let's take the rough mix down and listen to that with the room. The trumpet sounds kind of out of phase to my ears with something. I'm not sure what right now, but I have a feeling that it might be out of phase with one of the room mics because it's quite loud in this room mic. It's possible that there is some phase cancellation going on. So let's just put that to the test. Let's see which one is loudest in. It's pretty loud in the right. Not so much in the left. So let's check it out with the right mic. There's definitely some cancellation going on. It seems kind of minute. Maybe the polarity switch might not work in this particular case, but let's try it anyway. No, I think we just made that worse. So I'm just going to leave it as it is. It's okay. Sometimes, it's best not to mess with things. It sounds good. It's not, it's not terribly noticeable. So I'm just going to leave it as it is. So basically, we continue bringing up levels, checking for phase in this same manner until you have everything up and running and you hear everything and you have your pan position set up and all that stuff. So once you're done with most of your level adjustment and panning, you should have something that looks similar and sounds similar to this. Okay, so you'll notice that I've sort of reversed the polarity on the guitars. Uh, they sounded a bit fatter to me with the room when I did that reversal, so I just sort of left it like that. Again, I'm not 100% sure about this. It's very hard to tell in this kind of situation, but it sounds good to me right now, so I might leave it like that. Maybe at some later point might change it, but everything else sounds fine to me. I didn't really have to do much else in terms of polarity inversion. It was just the overheads that made the biggest difference to the whole drum kit. Everything else seemed fine. These are my levels as of now. And I'm pretty happy with the way things are. In the next session, I'm going to show you how to basically translate these levels into the gain structure of your tracks, and then start with all your faders at Unity, and then go into like actually processing the mix and working on a bit more cleanup and things like that, and maybe some editing. Okay, that's all for this one. I hope you guys liked it. Please like and subscribe as always. Thank you.